everybody. I'm Pam, the Messenger of Love. Welcome to another Magical Messages of Love. So tonight we are going to talk about love, of course, my favorite topic, and that's what spirits always want to bring in. But we're also going to connect to a few spirits and talk about a few topics that they have for us tonight. If you're joining into this show, you can put your comments in the chat. Tell me where you're from. If you have a question, you can put that in there, and I'll come back to it at different times and we can answer your questions. You can put a question to angels, your spirit guides. You can put a question to one of my guests, and we will see what their answer is for tonight. So I want to thank you for being here, and let's tap into the energy and see what is coming through. So I had 4 spirits that talked to me before the show and wanted me to bring them through. And so they are special guests tonight. And I'll be bringing them in one by one, and we'll gradually, receive their messages. I'm going to keep it kind of a mystery. So we're going to start with one and then connect to the next one. So you have to kind of stay tuned to the show and see who is going to come through tonight. So one of the things that I want to bring up is there's a lot of synchronicities that we have. And so sometimes we see numbers, and repetitive numbers gives you messages. It helps you receive information from spirits. So angels and spirits will communicate to you in that way. So sometimes you'll see repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, all these different numbers. And then sometimes you'll see combinations of numbers too. And so the energy of these numbers are a way for you to be, receive a message, and whatever you're feeling and thinking about at that time is how that connects to that number. So if you see 1111 and at that time you were thinking about maybe doing something for yourself to do a healing, or maybe there was something you want to include in your life more, go on a different path, then that is a way for spirit to tell you, yes, that's the right way to go right now. That's where we want you to start traveling and begin a new path and start something new. So pay attention to those numbers, and when they come in, what is happening in your life. And they'll have slightly different meanings. 111 or 1111 is usually an awakening number where you're opening up to your spiritual connections more. 222 I see a lot with when I'm communicating directly with angels and they're trying to support me in either healing or balancing something. And 333 I see a lot more with ascended beings, masters energy, and just kind of getting into more of that like the Holy Trinity spirit, the pyramidal energy. So there's other meanings for the other numbers as well. Some of them bring in abundance and more inner peace, and bring a little magic into your life. So you can research those online and find out more about those. So the number I want to talk about tonight is 222, because I have seen this a lot lately, and it's interesting because I've had this repeat in my life a lot. I actually lived in an apartment one time that was number 222. So I think that's funny because that happened years ago before I even started to do any of this work. And now I talk to angels. So it's kind of almost like it was there. It was like an awakening way back when, before I even knew what an awakening was. And it was allowing me to see that there's something coming. There's something out there that's going to be coming up where I'm going to be connecting to the angelic realm and my path and my purpose and what I'm coming here to do. So with the 222, that number is a number of balance, because if you think about the 2, you have the balance of the 2 things, so it's like an even number basically, and then you have a connection with it, meaning like you being balanced in your choices, but also flexible in what happens in your life. So the 222 will bring in that energy where if you feel like you're off for some reason, it'll begin to bring in something that brings you back into harmony. It helps you to heal within yourself, within other connections, relationships, partnerships. It might bring in your soulmate energy because there's that connection, the 2 people connecting. It could be a really strong heart healing energy. If you have been through a lot of things in your life, you have a lot of trauma that you have kind of taken on, and it's in your heart space, your heart chakra, that energy of the 222 will bring in more of that. So if you see that more, it's your angels trying to talk to you and help you to find the balance and to bring in more harmony and whatever healing that you need at that time. So that was something that was more recent that was coming in quite a bit for me. And then if you have other numbers, they can bring in other energies as you're shifting. So if you begin to awaken and you see a lot of 1111s, then you might shift and eventually you'll see another number, and that has another meaning for part of your path where you're headed next. So if you're just joining tonight, I am talking about energy, healing energy, with a few spirits that I'm bringing in. And there'll be a few spirits that'll come in at different times. So I have 4 different guests that are coming tonight to talk. And if you join, whenever you join in, just go ahead and, put a comment in the chat, say that you're here and where you're from. Maybe if you have a question, feel free to join in at any time and put a question in the chat. So the first guest that we're going to bring on tonight is Regis Philbin. Okay, so he came to me because there's kind of a theme tonight, I think, with the guests and kind of their roles while they were on the earth. So they're showing that presence of who they were while they were on the earth, and also now their perspectives on the other side and how we can learn from that. So they were definitely, the energies that are coming in tonight, they were very big energies that were in front of a lot of people that, basically were giving, a lot of direction and guidance and kind of conversations about life and kind of reaching further, opening up, seeking more answers. They were like really into that interview mode. What else is there to know? How can we connect with people? There was a lot of connections going on. So tonight we're going to talk about connections and how we can connect to other people and keep those connections strong so that we can have a little bit more love and joy in our lives. So they're going to talk a lot about that because they definitely had these stronger connections and they knew how to talk to people and bring out the best in them. If you're joining tonight, you can join in the chat and say hi. And, if you have any questions, just let me know. Hi, I see you're from Austin. Yeah, thank you for putting that comment in there. So if you want to join in, just put a question in there. You can ask Regis a question. You can ask your spirit guides. You can ask an angel a question. And as we go along, if there's other spirits that come in, you can ask them a question as well. So we'll just keep that going whenever y'all want to add something in there. So the message that I have from Regis is he says, what a joy it is to be here, bright and shining faces. So he's talking directly to you. So I want y'all to really tap into that. He's really talking to you. He's here. He's present in this moment. He's saying, I see that you are tuning in to the magical messages of love. What a show this is going to be. So that was interesting how he said that. I think he had always had this energy that was very lively and got excited about life. And so that's one of the things that he talks about, and his energy that's coming through like that right now, it's like that as well. Like he still has that personality. Like when we cross over to the other side, our personality is still the same. If we're very, energetic and super happy and positive, then that's the way that we come through. So he also mentioned if you only knew what was next, he kind of wants to keep it kind of a surprise what's coming throughout the show tonight. But he said if you only knew what was next, and he's saying that kind of for the show tonight and also what's on the other side. If you only knew what was over there, you would be like, oh, this is exciting. I can't wait to go home because it's so amazing over there. We come here and we have our version of home here too. But he's just saying that once you get back there, you're going to be really amazed to see how much more there is, how much more love. It's so pure and free and it's just easy. He says, I hope that everyone tonight notices how precious it is that you are gathered together. So this is a gathering, a togetherness, a connectedness. He says, togetherness, that is where it's at. So he talked about, and when he started to talk about togetherness, he started to talk about funny things. He brought in things that, go together. So he was talking about like peanut butter and jelly. And then he started to talk about, I think he was talking about a sandwich or something, and he was saying like Swiss cheese and ham or macaroni and cheese. And so he was trying to show the connections of two things together. And he started talking about duos and pairs, couples, duets. And so that was one of the big things he talked about, and how, we may have like our best friend, right, who's like part of our connection that's like a real strong connection, and that's kind of like a pair. or you may have a partner in life, you know, a romantic partner or another partner, like a business partner or something like that. And that is your pair, your duo, and in a way you have like a duet when you come together and share ideas or whatever you do together. He said, love is like a duet. You find where you want to sing your song, and it's like two lovebirds. It's like two birds singing songs together. He says he was always excited about his guests because he knew that he can help bring out the best in them, and they could also bring out the best in him as well. So he saw that as kind of like this energy going back and forth, that connectedness, the togetherness, the duet, and how it wasn't just about him talking to them, it was about how they interacted with him and brought him out as well. So he did, I talked about, you know, it's kind of like the duets like Sonny and Cher, you know, like Siskel and Ebert, just whatever that duet is. It could be a friendship, like I said, it could be a business colleague, it could, you know, your family members. It could even be that you have that connection with an animal, like your duet is wherever you feel it is connected to. Okay, I have a question now. I have a twin flame in Turkey. I wonder when that will happen, the union. Ooh, that's a good one. And it's interesting that you posted that question at 8:11. So there's a number right there. There's numerology. So you might want to look up that 8:11 and see what the meaning of that is, because part of that is the 11 is the twin flame energy, and it's an awakening point, you know, and then 8 is also kind of like a union energy as well, because it is that infinity symbol. So think about that. So see, you put that question right at 8:11. So that's telling me that connection is strong and is coming into being faster than others. So it's getting ready to shift and come together. So if you're thinking about what is the time period, how long this would be, this is soon. This is very soon is what they're saying, because you're already in the right energy. And then you're getting the signs. I can see the signs here. I can feel the energy of what they're saying here. So that is coming soon. I think there's a lot of twin flame energies that are coming in, they're coming together right now more. There's some that have already come together, but there's a lot more that are coming into union right now. It's just, it's a good time for that energy to come forward, because we've shifted a lot. We've opened up a lot. We've awakened to our energy and how we can live in our heart space. For the twin flames, the concept of that energy to come forward, to truly come forward. And even if we talk about meeting soulmates, what we're talking about is when you're in alignment with your true self, then you bring in who is meant for that match. So if you are feeling good with yourself, if you're following your path, if you're happy about life, you're enjoying things, you're doing all the favorite things that you want to do, you're clear, your energy's clear and balanced, it brings it in. Now, it won't come in as strong and as powerful and be there to be, you know, that connection you really want if you are not in that place yet. So let's say that you have something that you haven't really released yet, something you're working on, and it's hard to say what those things are. Sometimes when we travel through life, we don't know until we start to dig in there a little bit more. But once it comes out, then it becomes, okay, now I need to heal that. So you start to heal that energy, and you may come into meeting your twin flame and not come together right away, because you notice when you come together at first, you're healing a lot of things, and it's hard to come together because it's hard to experience that, because you're looking at yourself, you're seeing your mirror. So it's hard to see all the things that you need to work on, because your twin will show you, oh, there's a place you haven't healed. That's a place that you're still struggling with, that you don't, you know, maybe you don't feel good about yourself. Maybe they challenge you in some ways about how much you love yourself. And so if they do come in earlier, and maybe you're not both ready, one of you is not ready, whatever it is, then just know that over time it will come back together as you start to move out of those older patterns and release that trauma. And it'll clear out enough to where you can come together in union. And then soulmates are similar too, like they're going to match with the energy frequency. So when you call in your soulmate, however you are in life at that time, when you're really ready and open and healed, and you're in that vibration of what's important to you, they will come forward as well. and be with you on your path. And so be patient with that, because remember that the other person has to also transform their energy. They have to open up as well. And so if you're ready, it may just take them longer. It may take them time. And if you can be patient with that and just keep holding your light, hold your space, heal yourself more, do things that make you feel good. As you're doing that, you're really sending a signal. You're kind of sending like a little sonar, if you will, to your twin flame or your soulmate that says, I'm ready and I'm here for you when you are ready. I'll be here. I love you. I'm waiting for you. No, they'll know that you're in that space, and at some point you'll be able to get together and they'll know that it's time to come in. So we're just talking a little bit about twin flame and soulmate energy. If you're just now joining, we're going to talk to a few spirits tonight. And if you want to join the chat, you can put a comment in there or ask a question to any of the spirits, spirit guides, whoever you want to ask the question to. And we have been talking to Regis Philbin, and he was talking about this duet energy. So that's how we got into the twin flame part of the conversation. And he talked about, you just have to love more. You need to love what you do, love where you are, love who you are. And if you feel that if you don't have that feeling, or you feel like you're off a little bit, then make a change. Change the song or the record, play a different tune, because you have the ability to do that. You can notice when things are slightly off and it's like, okay, that doesn't feel right to me anymore. Maybe you're in a job for a while and you're like, okay, I'm in this job, but something's not feeling right. Something's not feeling right. And you keep doing it. And then it just gets to the point where you just know you can't be in that job anymore. And so that's what he's talking about. The more you love the things you do, the people you're around, the environment you live in, the more that you're going to be able to play that frequency, that song, which will bring you a lot of abundance, a lot of opportunities, connections to people, relationships, and things that you do want. So he says, joy is something it was always in his heart when he was on the earth. And he wants you to have that joy too. He says he was excited about life and people. Like, he really got into who they were and what was the greatest thing about them. What was the joy within them. And he said, people to me were the reason for loving and living. So a lot of people, you have your different motivations for what you're drawn to. What are your passions? And for him, people were his passion. And so he really needed to be around people. And that's why his path went in that direction. And he had that gift of being able to make those connections with people, make them feel comfortable, and, like they were here to fit into the world for the reason of just being themselves. And he says, sometimes you have to let your guard down, bring down the walls and the fence or the perimeter area, the fencing around your heart. And because your heart could be like Fort Knox, it could be like really locked up. And if you're like that, you're not able to let in those things, the people that need to connect to you. And he says, just let love come to you. What if you just let love come to you? So it's like taking down those walls, those barriers. Like, you do put them there for a reason. Sometimes you do go through things and maybe you get a little shy about opening up again, and you're wondering, well, is this the right time? Do I feel right? You need to go through your healing if that's part of your process. But when you're ready, just gradually open up, let the guards down, because then you will find people on your path that are sent to you to help you to have those stronger connections. He says it's a joy and should be a joy. It should be easy. That is what we say over here. So he's saying on the other side, they say it should be easy. Life should be easy. It should be joyful. It should be free and just simple. And so that's, what they're trying to get us to do is to let go more, to release and surrender, so that we can fully experience and enjoy our lives. He says, think about if you were riding a bicycle up a hill in a snowstorm. He says, it's going to be hard. It's that resistance you all talk about, right? But he says, what does it feel like going downhill on a beautiful sunny day? That's a little different, right? It's like you're in that zone. You're just like free, and maybe even hear like the birds chirping in the trees or something. And it's easy, and it can be so much better than when you're trying to fight life and like hold yourself back and kind of take those points where you're overthinking things or trying to work things out in a way that's more analytical rather than more in your heart. And then he talked about, so you can find ways to make life a joy with your friends. He's trying to give examples here of how he had all these connections of friends. He had so many friends and so many people that he interviewed and, you know, colleagues and whatnot. And he said, so find ways to make life a joy with your friends, you know, the fun things you like to do, and find something that matches you. And he says, I find it hard to believe that you have nothing to choose from. That's what he's trying to say, because we have a lot of things, a lot of group activities now that people are starting to get out more. We have a lot of online things too. We are online right now through this Facebook experience. So it's there, it's everywhere. And it's even things you do, maybe just with a friend or even by yourself. There's a lot of activities that you can do, things that you can learn, hobbies you can take on that are new. He says there's billions of things out there. So pick one and love it and live it and enjoy it. Then pick another until you have a circle of love and friends and laughter around you. Laughter is the best medicine, and joy is the spark of that laughter. So that was his message overall, for us to keep making those connections and make sure that we know that we do have a way to not be isolated anymore, to not feel lonely, to not feel like we're overwhelmed and we don't have any way to have those moments of healing that's in that circle of love with our friends. And so if you're just now joining, we are talking with a few spirits tonight. We are talking about love, of course, and how we can be more in a joyful state, be more connected, and just, you know, understand how we can help each other, maybe find our soulmates, tune into that energy, and twin flames as well. And we just talked to Regis Philbin, and now we're going to switch over and talk to another spirit. And this spirit is Alex Trebek. And he was the Jeopardy host for many years. And he also did some other work as well, but he's best known for Jeopardy. And so he was coming in, and you can see kind of the connections of how they're coming in. So tonight we're having a lot of big presences that were in front of people, you know, having guests in some way. So they're talking about that connection of guests being present. And he said, you know, this happens when you least expect it, when you don't think you're ready, when you're pushed to look within to see yourself. So what he's saying there, and I'm going to repeat it, what he's given you is he's given you the answer, and you have to come up with the question. Okay. So he says, this happens when you least expect it, when you don't think you're ready, and when you're pushed to look within to see yourself. And so the question is, what is spiritual awakening? So that was his question for tonight for his version of Jeopardy. And he said, tell them that even though life is a circus at times, there are many beautiful moments, like clarity of purpose, your wisdom, love of yourself, acceptance, and, you know, coming up with answers to life's questions, and then kind of digging deeper into those questions and finding what else there is. And so he talks a lot about this bigger awakening and digging deeper into finding out, what do we want to know about? What do we want to know while we're on earth about our spiritual connections? What do we want to know about who we are and what that can become in this world? He says, always ask for more guidance and enlightenment, you know, more adjustments of your light to be your own superstar. Like, be more aware of what you need and how you can tap into that more and be even more in your power of enlightenment. And then he says, you know, it was like sheer will and determination that defined my life and created even more strength for me to explore what else was possible. So he was just talking about how he really was following something that he was very focused on, and he had a lot of determination towards it. So he says you can do that as well. Whatever's in your life that you're focusing on and that you really want to have in your life, you can use that determination. We are determined at times. If you think about it, it's funny how we are often determined to do things in a way that it's simple for some things, you know, like if we want to watch TV that night, we're determined we're going to go watch TV. You know, if we decide we're going to go to the store that day and go shopping, we're like, okay, we got to go. I just feel like I have to go today. This is important to me. Or we want to, you know, maybe go talk to a friend. We're like, okay, I'm going to make it happen today. There's certain things we do make happen and we let it happen because it just seems like a normal part of life, and it is. But he's saying, what about bigger things? You know, what else can you put into that determination? Like, don't be afraid. And if it doesn't work out right away, let's keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's see what else we can do to make it happen. You know, there's going to be times when you do hit roadblocks, or you feel like maybe you are getting into a place where it feels like it's not supposed to be. You're asking that question, is this meant to be? You know, to be, you know, or not to be. And it's like, keep going, keep pushing past that point. But don't force things like really hard and make them go too fast. But at the same point in time of that statement, think about how you can maybe expand on it and say, okay, well, if it's a little more challenging, what does that mean? That means it's going to take a little longer. Okay, that means I need to like tweak a few things. That means I need to like add in some assistance or guidance or support from this area, you know. And so it just you keep weaving through it to see where is the right way to get there, the right path. But those little points, when you come up with something that feels like a challenge or like you're getting to a barrier of some kind, just know that it was kind of meant to be there, because it's showing you maybe something in that moment you need to understand, that you need to work on, that you need to pause for a moment because maybe you're going too fast. So it helps you to get there. It's just know that you can still do it as long as you keep that drive within you, that determination to get there. So always keep that going. Keep going for it. You will get to where you want to go. He says, I learned from others, you know, even more. He said he learned from other people more than he learned from himself, because, you know, with others, he was reminded of how to be himself more just by talking to other people and interacting with them. You know, as part of the show, he began to see how he could appreciate life more, you know, to be more humble, to be secure in knowing that there's this higher power, this spiritual connection, this spiritual realm that was beyond here. He was talking about knowing that there's something beyond the veil. And so he kind of understood that when people would present in front of him, he would see people in all kinds of different situations, and, you know, how he was bringing them something that was kind of a gift to help them in their life. And he could see that he got a gift too, to learn more about people that were in different situations and how to be humble in those cases. And so if you're just now joining the chat, we are talking now with Alex Trebek, and we are bringing in messages from him, and we're going to bring in other spirits tonight. We're talking a lot about energy, where, you know, we're being in the place of alignment for ourselves, to maybe connect with our twin flames and soulmates, to be determined on our path, to bring in more joy. And right now, let's see if I have any questions. Okay. Yeah, I see the comment about the twin flame. Yeah, it's interesting how there's things that happen, you know, when you talk about big shifts in your life, a lot of things will happen. Like, okay, you could go through a health crisis, you could go through a separation or divorce, you could go through, you know, losing a job or changing jobs suddenly, you know, maybe losing a family member, something like that. All of these things can often happen around the same time that you are going through that awakening. That is, it's like a rocket ship. It's just like taking you off real fast. So it feels awkward because it's so much. It's so heavy in a way that it's like a lot of experiences with the emotional connection, and the spiritual awakening is, you know, kind of purging the emotions a little bit. So you will go through those things, and you'll see that you may break away from either like a friendship, you know, a job, a relationship, because that doesn't align with you anymore. You're starting to awaken more, and you're realizing, you know, this is not really suiting me. This is not fitting me. This is not bringing me on my spiritual path. It's not making me happy. It's not bringing me love anymore. Maybe it suited me at one time, and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the lessons. I can understand that I have learned something, the other person has, And, maybe it's time to release it so that we can continue to evolve and grow on the earth. And then when we go to the other side, we'll understand the bigger picture then. We'll see what the real story was and why that happened more. We won't know all of it now, but we'll just have the concept and the idea that we are learning here and we are growing and healing in every moment. And we're doing that so that we can be in our energy on the other side and have this knowing that we have these experiences in the physical plane. Like we can't really experience those things over there. So here we learn the things that we can't learn in the spiritual realm. Like there, it's a little more perfect and, more of a kind of heavenly place that is in a certain frequency. And so some of the experiences that are little harder lessons you come here to do, and understand that, yes, we do choose these things. A lot of these things we choose to be a part of our contract to come here and begin to, open up to another level of learning for our soul. So we may say, hey, I want to come in, I want to experience something very traumatic. I want to be in a relationship that makes me love myself more. And so that's what may happen. You may get into that kind of contract here with more of a karmic partner that shifts you and helps you to release that energy, so that then the next time, like when you go back to the other side or you go into the next life, you're cleared from that, and now you are free to choose something different. So that's part of the reason why that happens. And then another thing that Alex Trebek was talking about is he learned, he says, always keep learning. He was trying to tell y'all this, always keep learning and growing. So that is, because that is when you will find the greatest reward. If you don't, he says, if you don't take chances, then who will? Like you're the one in your life experience and what is, driving you and creating that passion for you, where do you feel pulled to go? And so if you don't take those chances, nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to live your life and make decisions. They're not going to be the ones that go on those journeys, that, learn all those lessons, that, work hard at something, really put yourself out there. You're the one that has to do that work, and the healing work too. That is something that, as hard as that may be, we do have to do that as individuals. We also do it though as a collective. So remember that when you're healing yourself individually, you're healing the collective energy. You're helping to raise the energy vibration of the planet to be more in the state of love, and you're helping other people to also clear their trauma, and you're clearing ancestral trauma that has maybe gone through several different generations. And so you may carry that within your energy, your DNA, it could have part of that in there. And so once you have healed it, you may heal your whole family. You may heal, your whole generation and, past generations and, other future generations to come. So you're kind of, when you're healing now in the present moment, what you're doing is you're healing the past, present, and future. So you're being in the present moment, you're feeling that energy, you know where you're at right now, but then you're also simultaneously healing the past and the future. So just know that the more you're in that healing space in the present, the more that every moment becomes that you are fully healed. And so Alex said, it's up to you. You are the creator of your life. When you are ready, you get to take the wheel. You get to drive where you want to go. You get to direct it and choose what you want. And he also says to let y'all know that your journey is very short in this life, but know that it's very meaningful in every moment. And those memories will grow in your heart stronger and help you to feel fully alive and present. And you will take those memories with you. So that's the key thing to remember, is everything you do here, you are taking to the other side. You're going to be able to, remember those moments when you really connected to people and you laughed and you loved fully. Just imagine going to the other side and having that kind of image of yourself from here, kind of like peering in and seeing yourself, kind of like your higher self looking at you right now and saying, okay, did I love completely? Did I love fully and completely? Was I completely open? Did I allow love to come towards me? Did I forgive and let go? Did I release what needed to be released? Did I laugh so many times that, it's like I couldn't laugh anymore? I just filled up every space with laughter and joy and love. So those are the things we want to reflect on. We want to have those kind of memories. And, you know, you want to live with no regrets. Think of it that way. No regrets. You don't want to look back on your life and say, oh, I wish I would have done that one thing, or I wish I would have tried that thing, or, you know, maybe connected to that person, or maybe traveled somewhere that you always wanted to travel. You know, maybe you always wanted to do a certain creative pursuit. You know, you wanted to paint, you wanted to sing, you wanted to write, whatever it was. Just remember, you can do that, and you can be your own star and get into your light and fully do anything. Anything is possible. So if you're just joining tonight, we're talking with a few spirits tonight, and we're bringing in tonight some big energies that have been in front of people, you know, interviewing them through radio and TV and whatnot. And if you want to put a question into the chat, you can at any time, and I'll get to it, or comments, or let me know where you're from. And so tonight, the next guest that we have is Merv Griffin. So that's a biggie. So I really didn't know that much, honestly, about Merv Griffin before I even received this message. But, you know, one of the funny things is when he kind of brought himself through initially, he talked a lot about how he had been a part of a lot of different networks, and he had birthed many stars. So I thought that was interesting how he was talking about how he, you know, helped people to like come forward into their power more, like to understand that, yeah, you have something there that can really take off and go in this certain direction. So he really knew how to, I guess you would say, kind of like cultivate and grow things. And like if you had a garden, you were like planting the seeds and then you grew it more. He could recognize in people right away, like where their strength was and where they could go, and you know, almost see their path completely. He was almost kind of a visionary oracle type person. He had that ability to see a little bit into the future. I feel like we can all do that. You know, we can all jump ahead into the future a little bit and see, well, what's possible if I do that or make that decision. So we do that a lot, where we kind of use our imagination and go into the future. So he definitely had that within him. He just had a very strong intuition about things. He knew when people crossed his path that they were there for a reason, to do a certain thing, and he would direct that energy to go in that direction, and he would help them to find things. So he did, you know, he had his own show at one time. He had the Merv Griffin show, and he also created Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and a few other things. He was also on the radio. And so in that process of doing all of these things, he did cross paths with a lot of people that were either, you know, creating things, you know, producing things, or they were trying to be, you know, in the limelight in some other way, and he was interviewing them. And so he basically was connecting to people at their core, you know, understanding who they were. And this is his first line that he gave me. He says, wow, I did a lot of stuff. He says, I, you know, managed, directed, I ran the shows, put people in the spotlight because I could sense the good in people, that special something, that light that was one of a kind. So he definitely saw what was distinct about people. He said, you could say it's the it factor, but really you all have it. It's just that you need to decide what that is for you. So he was trying to bring that across, is that everybody has that it factor, but it's like, what is it that brings that out in you, and what brings you that feeling that it's your being yourself, you know, you're being in your passion. So everybody has that. And some people might direct it in one way, you know, they might be behind the scenes, but their it factor is something else. And somebody else might be on camera, you know, on radio, and that's their it factor. It could be you're helping people heal, you're a healer, and that's your it factor. So that's what he wants to talk about a lot, is that we all have the star potential. It's how do we increase it more? How do we let go and release so it can come in and be stronger and be more in our power? He said, I birthed a lot of stars, but really, I just gave them permission to be themselves, to jump for joy, to be a presence to be reckoned with. You know, they came, he says they came fully alive when they were, you know, in that way of being shown the way, being given that permission. So he said he had that ability. You know, he almost seemed to me, the way he's presenting to himself is almost like a counselor would help somebody to like really work through things and uncover who they are more. So I think he was able to, bring their presence out more. It gave them the ability to say, oh yeah, you're right, I can do that. I see, okay, he believes in me, so I'm going to do that. And that's where it went from there. And he says, I could talk about stars all night long, for eternity, actually. Just know that stars, like Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire don't care, don't come around that often. So he's trying to say that, there's some that will be bigger and brighter, and sometimes people are put more into a role where they're in front of people. And that is because they come to show you another piece of your heart, another view of love. So they're trying to do that shifting on a bigger scale. They're trying to help with the masses, with the bigger collective. And so that's why they're put in that role to do that. And so depending on what they do, their role might be, okay, they're in a position to make you laugh more. So they're, maybe they're an actor and they're making you laugh. Or maybe they're a singer and their songs really touch your heart. And so that shifts your frequency a little bit more. He says, I notice talent and opportunities for success because I view life through the eyes of what if. He talks about how he saw the possibilities of things. He says, I never looked backwards, always forwards. I kept looking towards the future and asked, what if? So he wants y'all to do that as well, to ask in your life, what if? What if I did that thing? What if I tried something new? What if I moved to that location I've been thinking about? What if I went a little bit further into my journey and like pushed a little bit more? Like, what else is there that I can do? What are my talents? Let me try that thing I've never tried before. What if I do that? What will happen? Just keep being curious about those things and exploring to see what that is, because that will give you the power to keep building on that and grow it into who you are supposed to be in this world, the reason why you came here with your gifts. And he says, I have one question for you. What if you were a star? See? And just know that you are a star. We are all stars that have come here to be in this world and experience the physical world, and know that our light is eternal. It's here with us in this world, but it's also going to go with us. We are going to travel back to the stars when we leave here. And he says you can have your own version of being that connection to success and love, and what you desire. You are a star in your own right. So be that for yourself and others, and always ask, what if? So I want y'all to really think about that, really sink into that and carry that with you. I do ask myself that question a lot. Even if I'm doing something and I've been doing it for a while and I'm comfortable with it, I always ask, what else can I do? What if I tried something new? What if I learned something I've never done before? What if I learned a new hobby? What would that be like? Maybe it seems a little odd at first, scary sometimes, but honestly, that what if, you never know where that will take you and who you will connect to. And then we're going to begin to shift now into one final energy. And this is the energy of Larry King. And he is going to bring a message about his experience on the earth and what he wants y'all to know. If you're just joining me, you can put a comment in the chat or a question for one of the spirits or a spirit guide, and I'll try to get back to you. If for some reason I don't get to your question, I will answer you through Facebook and send you a message, or you can still send me a question later if you don't put your question in the chat, or if you just want to ask it more privately. So right now we're going to talk to Larry King and see what happens. Okay, so he's excited to be here. He has a lot of energy coming through. He's very strong in his presence. And I think he's trying to say, now he wants to come in more and be kind of in the moment. He says, save the best for last, didn't we? Right? He's trying to be funny because he's kind of pushing the others aside and saying, okay, now it's time for Larry King. He says, I'm a guest, how about that? Kind of weird that he's a guest tonight rather than having guests. He says, I have to be a guest now in this experience. But he says, even though he's a guest, he wants to interview all of you. You know, he says, I still got it in me. I still got it in me to interview you and to be in that role. And I do feel like as he's coming in, it's like he is sitting in a chair, you know, with the microphone and everything. And he's like doing his thing, like he's still bringing that presence of showing himself that way. And he also said, you know, this old man ain't old anymore. Because he's trying to talk about how on the other side, he's young again. He says, you know, I'm vibrant. I'm filled with eternal life. I'm free in my energy. I can be a little bit different now. I can choose what age I want to be and how I want to present myself and be a certain way in that world. He says, tonight he wants to interview y'all, and he's going to ask you a little question. He says, let's start with what brought you here tonight. He says, so if you want to answer that question, you can in the chat. You can say why you came here tonight. But he said, was it curiosity, self-discovery, connectedness, just checking things out? So he says, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. He says, all of those are fine because it leads you to discover the deeper meanings of life. So one of the things that he kept bringing up over and over with me is how much he just loved exploring things. And that's why he did what he did for a living, because he loved to dive into, you know, the inner workings of people and life and how things were a certain way and why did that happen versus another thing. He says, I like to scratch below the surface. I always wanted to know more and what made people tick. That curiosity sparked more curiosity until I had connections everywhere and really got to know people and their situations. And I appreciated their honesty and how they revealed themselves. Sometimes you might wear a mask in life, a costume, and pretend a little, you know, kind of skirt around who you are at the core, but eventually it gets uncomfortable to wear that mask and that costume. And it becomes time to move on from that place of being stuck and reveal who you are. Take off the mask, show your integrity, your courage, what makes you strong, but even what makes you feel weak. Just remember, weakness is not a bad thing. It's a sign of awareness and growth. Nobody starts off knowing it all. You learn as you go and you grow into yourself. You become more bigger, you know, in your light, you know, more of that strength building in your light. You just keep pushing the boundaries until you realize there are no boundaries. See, those boundaries that you thought were there, the walls that were up, they were ones that you created in your mind. But your heart knows that is not true, that you do not need those walls or those boundaries. You can be free. He says, love has no limits, and neither do you. You're limitless and free. So go for it. Go out there and show the world what you've got and who you are. So that was a really interesting message, very strong and powerful message from Larry King. He knows that for him, he always reflected that energy. He always just kind of pushed it a little bit more. What else can I do to connect to people? What other way do I want to interview? How can I dig a little deeper? How can I investigate something more that I haven't looked at before? Because there's always a new angle, a new story, you know, a new experience. So he was always investigating things like that. He was always curious. And he says, you should be curious with life. You should be free with life and always explore what is next and what is more for you. Ask what is more. When you ask for what is more, it's not that you're saying, I'm not happy and content with where I'm at. I'm not grateful. It's just you're saying, well, this is amazing. I love what's in front of me. And now what more can I add to it? So it's not that it takes away from what you have, and it's not taking away from your gratitude. It's just adding more to your experience. Okay, I have a question about a mission on Earth. What do you think about my mission on Earth? Okay, so your mission on Earth, let me tap into that real quick. So you have this, okay, so you have this ability to be telepathic is what I'm picking up on. And so you communicate to people in that way. And a lot of times when you're in different places, you'll actually send them signals or messages, and you may not even always know that you're doing it. So your starseed connection is about that. It's about being in different places where you're giving telepathic signals to people And I feel like you're also a what I would call more of a starseed leader. So you are leading people to go and awaken more, to like connect to what their purpose is. So that is something that you're kind of being like the light that's guiding other starseeds. You're helping the next wave of starseeds to come through and like start to do their stuff more. So just know that that's the main thing. The main part of it is just being in different places, causing that awakening to happen through your telepathy and through your energy frequency and that connection of starseed. So basically, if you go somewhere and there's another starseed, then they kind of recognize that. They know that, oh, I'm a starseed too. And then y'all kind of have that frequency match, and you may not even have a conversation with them. It's just like crossing paths literally. And then it's like it just turns the light on in them and they begin to follow that more. So you do have a big mission with that, and you can do different things with it. It doesn't have to be just going to these places and knowing that you're doing this. It could be more than that. You could maybe talk about that with people, share things about what you know about your connection to starseed energy. Like start to share with people what that is. Talk about it more with your friends or, whoever you feel is really open and ready to receive that. Begin to bring that forward with them. And I would also suggest doing some kind of meditations with frequencies that you feel drawn to that will begin to activate your path more, because I feel like there is more to open up, and you would very much benefit from going to certain locations on the earth to activate places and also activate things within you. So like a certain pyramid or a sacred space or something like that. So whatever you feel drawn to, you need to go to those places to open that up for you. And so we're almost coming to the end of tonight, and we've talked with several different spirits. If you didn't get your question answered, be sure to send that message to me on Facebook, and I'll get back to you and give you the answer that you are needing. And we talked to all the spirits tonight about joy and love and how we can be ourselves more and go after things and, follow what our passion is, be really dedicated to what's important to us. So tonight I want you to really hold on to that more, really begin to understand that you do have that. I do believe that everybody here is on their path. They're already getting into the next direction of where to go. You're becoming more powerful. You're becoming more clear, and you're having that clarity of what is next for you. So you can tap into that in lots of different ways. A lot of times I will do meditations and I will tap into different frequencies. I might listen to singing bowls. I might listen to drums or chanting and different things. Chanting is a good way to open up your throat chakra if you need that more. But there's a lot of different things that you can do to open your frequency and connect to maybe your starseed energy or another energy that you have brought in to be a part of this world. You can do things that are more on your own or with other people. Like you could just go outside, and as simple as just sitting outside and looking at the trees could bring something to you. It could bring more of an awareness and opening of your energy, maybe clear something out, because trees are very healing and they really understand how to work with us and bring us more of that insight to know that we do have the answers. We know how to heal. We know how to be in our power more. So those are things that you can do to begin to, shift that, and know that as you're going on your path, you're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to meet people that are just joining the path. They're just becoming more into their power and getting into this awakening place and kind of questioning what is happening to them, and why are they all of a sudden hearing things that they didn't hear before, or waking up at 3:33 a.m. or hearing a song over and over. And so as you encounter people in your life that maybe they haven't had all the experiences you have, remember to share your stories and your experiences. Let them know that this is just part of the process, and there's going to be a part that maybe is a little harder, where you're having to purge out that emotional energy. I know that I used to wake up a lot at 3:33 a.m. and different times in the middle of the night, and I would have ideas come to me, or I would feel like spirits were bringing me messages, or there was just something that I needed to hear or heal at that time. So I really, allow myself to tune into that, and it doesn't have to keep me awake all night, but just know that it is something that needed to come in at that exact moment. And then other times, I have experiences where I'll meet somebody and they'll tell me something, and it's exactly what I need to hear at that time. And it could even be, the line in a song, and it just really matches with where I'm at, what I'm trying to shift into, what I'm trying to heal, maybe something that I'm seeking at that time. And so those things will keep coming into you and into your path and allow you to grow more and grow more into your power. And so, recently I even talked to someone just randomly, and they mentioned to me that they had an angel that came to talk to them a few years ago, and they're not even really on the path of being fully accepting of their abilities, but they did at least accept that and say that must have been real because I couldn't explain it any other way. So even if you're not intending to be, like a psychic or a medium or be a healer, even if you're doing something else with your life that's a little bit different, just know that you still are receiving, and those things will start to come to you, and the angels will find ways to communicate to you. And it might be that you sense the name of an angel, or maybe you see a certain color, or maybe you see a sign, literally, like you drive by something and you see a sign and it reminds you of an angel, or it has the word angel in it. And so those are ways that they're also bringing those messages and those signs to let you know that they're here, that they're supporting you, they're helping you to get into the power of where you're going next. So I'm going to share with y'all just a couple of small little things real quick before we end for the night. And I want to thank y'all for coming and being a part of this experience, and thank the spirits for coming through, because they really do enjoy coming here and talking to y'all and helping y'all to, get more onto your path and find more love. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you can go to my YouTube channel, Shine From Your Soul, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And that way you'll get notifications for new videos and meditations that I'm putting out on there. I'm doing a lot of channel videos right now, and audios as well. There's a lot of different messages. Some are going to be about soulmates and twin flames, how to heal your energy. And there's also going to be meditations and other things on there as well. So I just want y'all to kind of check it out, join in on that, because it's going to grow over time. There's going to be a lot more things on there. And you can use these to do a lot of healing, because what I'm doing is when I'm putting the messages on there, I'm using a certain vibration with my voice to help you to shift something and to understand a deeper connection that you need at this time. So just know that is there for you if you need some healing energy. And then also I have, these events will be Fridays at 8 o'clock, and I have other meditations that are coming up in June and into July. We'll have new meditations as well. And you can go to my website if you want to check out some of the things that I offer. I do readings, angel readings, and you can also learn about your soul purpose, your past lives. You can do a past life regression and just, learn more about maybe something that you need to heal that's from a past life. Those regressions are very powerful. You can also do a hypnosis where you are releasing something so that you're more in the right frequency for you to manifest something. So maybe if you feel like there's something that's keeping you stuck, you have a lot of anxiety, or that, it's just something's bothering you and you're not sure why it's not moving, hypnosis is a way for you to begin to work through that and shift it out a little faster. So be sure to contact me if you want to sign up for a session and see what that's all about. So I want to thank y'all again for joining, and have a good evening. If you have any more questions, just go ahead and put them in my Facebook and send me a message. Thank y'all, and have a good night.